then. Now, this is going to be kind of unpleasant, at least for me, because it's kind of a warm day. So, we've got our thermocouple meter, and I'm going to stick this up on the dash. So we might go to Fahrenheit. Let's go to centigrade, please. Thank you. So, let's see. Right now, just with the thermocouple hanging in free air, reading about 24 degrees centigrade. I'm going to take the thermocouple. I've got 2 on this meter, so why don't I just get rid of one? I need one thermocouple. Nothing like being prepared. Alright, I'm going to take this thermocouple and just stick it into the grill there. Oops. Oh, sorry, I've got a thermocouple too. There we go. Alright, so we're currently reading just inside the grill there about 24.5 degrees C. So let's start the car. Okay, car is on. For some reason, so is our heater. Ah, interesting. So, yeah, I did think that I heard the coolant flowing through the matrix here just when I turned the key. So it looks like we did get a little bit of heat on there when we first started the car. So, no big deal. That would be caused by the fact that our relay needs to energize. The black 2-pole relay needs to energize before we turn the heat off. So that's what probably caused that. But that's just interesting to note. This is actually only my my second time starting the car now with that with the heater set up. So let's just check that our motor runs. Yeah, you can see in the red we've got current, on the left we've got battery voltage. So right now our heater controls are set to full cold. Got my vents set to front vents. I've got my fan turned off, so I'm not drawing any current here at all. So I should now be able to turn on the fan just to get cold airflow going. So let's close some windows. Rear windows and front windows. Okay, so we're now closed in, car turned on, full cold. Let's hit the blower. Get about half speed on the blower. And I've got cool air coming through here. I can see by my current here that I'm not drawing any power from the battery. My temperature did a little bit of a spike there on the thermocouple. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing that. It's 26 degrees and dropping. So now situation comes along that let me see here, I'll just move the thermocouple here just in front of the gear stick. So we're reading, let's see here, try and use some of this stuff for, there we are. So we're at 24.8 degrees and dropping because I have my blower set to cold. So if I now come along and I decide that I want warm air, this is where it's going to get unpleasant for me, and I decide to just crank my heater control just over to full hot. Now we're drawing 16 amps, 15, 16 amps, and you can actually hear a little bit of flow happening, and my temperature is immediately increasing. I put a clamp meter on earlier. I was drawing 15.2 amps, at about 165, 166 volts. Person in the comments on the last video did some of the maths for me, and it looks like we've got about 2.5 kilowatts of heat. Now I can already feel that this air is warm. Definitely feeling that's warmer than ambient air. According to my thermocouple, I'm at 33.5 degrees, so there's quite a rapid warm up on this one, folks. I've actually been looking around. Turns out you can get quite a nice what was it? I was watching an episode of Mighty Car Mods there fairly recently, and they were going through fitting a head unit into a car, and actually thought it'd be quite a nice idea. And I was having a look around, and it turns out that you can get Android based head units that'll fit the E39, so it'd be nice to get rid of all of that crap and just have a nice Android head unit in there that would do the dashboard, the EMW dashboard, and you know, give me all the various other functions that I might need on there, navigation and so on. Now I've definitely got what I would consider hot air coming in through these vents now. Got the vent on the far side there on the passenger side vent. I've got the driver's side vent turned off. Let's turn that on. I've definitely got hot air coming through here too. We're now at 45 degrees. Don't know how many minutes in we are, but it'll be on the video anyway. Let's just close that driver's side one there for a second. Let some more of the air run through the center vents. As you can see on this, you know, like if I was driving along now, if I need to get into the car to drive, I would, I mean, that's nice warm air. I mean, I would have need to been when I was driving a petrol E46 1.8. You could be, you know, well into your journey. You'd be well, you'd be 6 or 7 miles into your journey, maybe even more on a cold day before you'd be getting air at this temperature coming in. We're now passing 50 degrees centigrade. This is where it's going to turn into a Turkish bath for me, but I want to actually try it with the car closed up. Definitely, let's plug in the other thermocouple actually, and we go for a cabin ambient temperature here. That mightn't be a bad idea. It still works. So let's just put that thermocouple. We just push it through the steering wheel here, so it's just kind of hanging in kind of free air here. I don't want it in the. Just tie that on there. So that's just going to hang here, right where my hand would be if I was holding the wheel. It's not in the direct stream. It's going to make sure the direct stream is away. Thermocouple 1 is now reading, oh bloody hell, over 30 degrees C. So good job you guys can't smell me, because I'm going to be sweating fairly soon. You see the cabin temperature is definitely on the increase. Let's go for our airflow temperature. Now at 57 degrees. Definitely, I mean, that is as hot as any combustion powered car air vents that I've been in. Let's hit the side vent here again. Yeah, I've got nice hot air coming through the side vent. Very happy with that. I'm going to close that. It's going to roast me from both sides. I'm coming up near 60 degrees. Wow, yeah. That is definitely hot. Now, fair enough, according to the exterior temperature sensor here on the dash, the external air is at 20.5 degrees C. And the air coming into the cabin is at currently just over 60. So even if, let's say, that it's raising the air temperature coming in here by 40 degrees centigrade, if it was 0 degrees outside, theoretically I should be getting 40 degree air coming in through the vents here, which would certainly be more than enough to do what I need it to do. Let's kind of see where this stabilizes. Let's go for cabin air again. Oh god, 35 degrees in the cabin. 62 coming out of the vents, and that is, oh yeah, that is definitely warmed. Now I've got the option too, because at the minute we're drawing air in from outside the car, heating it and pushing it in. If this was a cold morning, a really cold morning, I would have the choice to hit the recirc button here, which would basically recirculate the air inside the cabin, which would probably let me get even hotter. So we'll try that out as well. I'm uncomfortably warm now, but again, granted, it is a summer's day. But it's just a good test to see that even at the lower voltage, 165 volts now, we've still got plenty of kick in that MES heater to warm up. And you know, this is a big passenger car. Well, I suppose by my standards, it is. Anyway, that air is I really couldn't hold my hand there for too long. I actually say that's starting to get uncomfortably warm now. 66 degrees according to where we're at here. Let's hit the cabin. Cabin's at, great, 36.5. So let's see what happens if we hit the recirc button here. I guess it's now closed off the external vents. We're recircling the cabin air. Things I do for you guys, because it's seriously unpleasantly warm inside the car now. You know, oh bloody hell! Wow, that side vent is really kicking out hot air now. We close that off. Oh, this is definitely like friggin'. This is bad. You'd think that what I should be getting working now would be the flipping aircon. Got to figure out a plan for that too. 68 degrees now coming out of the vents. I mean, if I was driving probably be a couple of miles into my journey by now, and I mean, this is at least, I mean, this is actually faster heating up than, you know, coolant from a combustion engine source. Looks to be holding around 68.5 with the recirc on. Let's kill the recirc for a second. We're drawing in from outside air again. Okay, so I'm practically now at 70 degrees, and we'll call it 20 degrees outside. So I've managed to lift this guy up by 50 degrees above ambient, which is again more than what I need. Now, here's the thing that I think is pretty cool. If we turn off the fan blower, it turns off the heater first. And I think the heater actually turned itself off there just before I mentioned that. Let's blower back on. Yeah, I think the heater actually turned itself off just when we hit 70 degrees, which is what it's, wow, that's quite interesting, because that's kind of what it's supposed to do, isn't it? That's what we were looking for on the last test when we were working on the bench. Let's turn that blower up. Let's open some windows. Oh god, that's better. Let's see if that kicks back in again. Oh, that's a nice breeze. That air is that. There we go. Heater's kicked back in again once we got to 66. Let's close up again, much to my displeasure. Alright, so as I was saying, once we go back to full cold, turn our temperature to full cold. Let's close the door here. Obviously where temperature starts going down, and we can start getting cool air again, because our heater system is turned off. So let's see again if we want to go to heat on. There we go, heat's on. So let's try blower off. Yay! So when we turn off the blower, our heater turns off, and if we're on full cold, blower back on, heater comes on. So let's try that again. Blower off, heater off, blower on, heater on. Okay. So let's try our temperature switch. We're on full hot, got our heater on. Let's try full cold, heater off. Okay. So back we need back to hot. Yay, heater on. So this is quite a neat way that we can use the existing controls here to control the heating system. Let's try that again. We're on full hot, heater's on, blower's on. Let's go for blower off, heater's off. Let's try a different combination. Let's go back to full cold here. Now let's turn blower on. Bit more blower for cold air. You see it's still coolant in the matrix. So let's decide now, do we need a bit of heat? Yay! Heat comes on. Okay, and then again, if we decide now we don't need heat, heat's off. So there you go, folks. That is our heating system. Very exciting. So what I was quite happy was again to be able to integrate it into the car's environmental panel here. Theoretically, I could wire it up differently in such a way that the heater, the kilowatt contactor closes when I power up the car, and that this guy here just provides through the relay a 12 volt pulse to the heater's 12 volt signal, and you could use climate control. You could literally set that to, let's say, 22C. When the car would actually heat up to 22C, it would start pulsing the heater on and off to control the cabin temperature that way, which is something that we can definitely look at. So for now, it just gives me the facility to use the existing controls here to run my heater. Let's do that one more time just to sure it's not making a liar of me. So let's start the car. Okay, car's on. Set my JLD meters there. Okay, so it's the middle of summer, so I have my temperature set to cold. turn on my fan blower, I'm good to go. If I decide I want a bit of heat, maybe to demist the windscreen or something like that, I can go to hot, and I start getting hot air, just like me. Then when I decide I've had enough of that, power's off. Okay, heater goes on, heater goes off. Okay, sports fans, that's it for today's adventure. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and stay with us for more EV action.